We crashed on a deserted island, and my boss said, "Stay close to me tonight." It was meant to pass the planet, scan the oceans, collect atmospheric data, and move on. A routine mission. Quiet, boring even. The kind of assignment junior crew members got when command wanted them out of trouble. Not in it. But something went wrong. Inside the cockpit, warning lights flashed red across the control panels. The engines stuttered. Gravity shifted. The ship tilted sharply to one side. Evan grabbed the edge of his seat as the floor seemed to drop beneath him. "What's happening?" Lena shouted from behind him. "I don't know," Mira said, her hands flying across the navigation console. "Thrusters aren't responding." Captain Hale stood behind them, calm but focused. His eyes moved from screen to screen, reading faster than Evan could follow. "Engine 3 is dead. We're losing altitude." "We can't pull up," Mira said. "The atmosphere's stronger than predicted." A loud boom shook the ship. The lights flickered. Tor, the medic, swore under his breath and braced himself against the wall. That didn't sound good. Evan's heart hammered in his chest. He had trained for emergencies, fires, power failures, even vacuum breaches. But nothing in training felt like this. Nothing prepared him for the sick feeling of falling through a sky that didn't want to let go. "Brace," Hale said, his voice steady but loud. "Everyone brace now." The shuttle began to spin. Outside the windows, clouds tore past in streaks of gray and white. Then darker shapes appeared. Ocean, land, something solid, rushing up far too fast. Evan closed his eyes. The impact came like the world breaking. Metal screamed. Something exploded. His body slammed forward against the restraints, knocking the air from his lungs. Pain shot through his shoulder. Then everything went black. When Evan opened his eyes, the world was quiet. Not peaceful quiet. The heavy kind, like the air after a storm, when everything feels wrong because it's too still. He tasted blood. Smoke drifted through the cabin in thin gray lines. A red emergency light blinked slowly near the ceiling, painting the walls in soft pulses. Somewhere nearby, something crackled, like damaged wiring. "Hello?" Evan said, his voice dry. "Anyone?" No answer. He pushed himself upright, wincing as pain flared in his ribs. His harness had snapped loose and he was half slumped across the aisle. The floor felt tilted. Nothing felt level anymore. "Lena?" he called. "Mira? Tar?" A soft groan came from behind him. "I'm here," Lena said weakly. "I think." Evan turned. She was slumped in her seat, one arm hanging loose, her dark hair stuck to her face with sweat. Blood trickled from a cut on her forehead. "I'll get you," Evan said, forcing his legs to work. He stumbled toward her, grabbing onto seats for balance. "I'm okay," she said, though her voice shook. "I think. Just dizzy." "I don't trust I think," Evan muttered. "Hold still." He unclipped her harness slowly and helped her sit upright. She winced but didn't cry out. "Where are we?" she asked. Evan looked around. Through the cracked window, he saw bright light, blue sky, a stretch of pale sand beyond the shattered hull. "Not dead," he said. "That's a start." Another voice groaned from the front of the cabin. "I feel like I lost a fight with a wall." "That would be Tar," Evan said with relief. Captain Hale's voice came next, firm but rough. "Sound off. Who's alive?" Evan said quickly. "Lena?" she added. "Tor," came from the front. "Mira," said another voice, faint but steady. Hale nodded once. "Good." "Good. That's everyone." Evan finally saw him. The captain was standing near the cockpit doorway, one hand pressed to his side, blood darkening the fabric of his uniform near the ribs. But he stood straight, eyes sharp, posture controlled. "You're hurt?" Evan said. "I'll live," Hale replied. "Tor?" "Already on it," Tor said, dragging himself toward the emergency kit. The shuttle was wrecked. The cockpit was crushed inward. One wing was torn clean off. The back section had burned through, leaving jagged metal edges where the hull had split. Half the systems were dark. The other half blinked warnings that no one had time to read. "We need to get out," Hale said. "Atmosphere could ignite." "Evan, check the rear exit." Evan nodded and moved toward the back hatch. It was bent but not sealed. He shoved with his shoulder until it groaned open. Bright sunlight flooded in. Outside was a wide stretch of sand that shimmered like powdered glass. Beyond it, a line of tall black rocks rose like broken teeth. Farther still, Evan saw green, trees, dense jungle. And beyond that, a sharp slope climbing toward dark stone cliffs. "We're on land," Evan said. "Some kind of island." "Any fire?" Hale asked. "No flames. No smoke outside." "Good. Help Tor get the medical gear, then help Lena out." They worked fast. Tor had a deep bruise along his leg but could walk. Mira had a cut above her eye and seemed shaken but alert. Hale's ribs were cracked, maybe worse, but he hid it well. Once outside, the heat hit them. The air was thick and warm, carrying the scent of salt and something sweet, like crushed leaves. The sand was warm under Evan's boots. A breeze moved across the beach, stirring fine grains into soft ripples. The ocean stretched wide and calm in one direction, dark blue beneath a pale sky. 2 moons hung low on the horizon, even though it was daytime. One silver, one faintly gold. "Never seen a sky like that," Lena whispered. "No signs of civilization," Mira said, scanning the tree line. "No structures, no signals." "Comms?" Hale asked. "Dead," Mira said. "Long range, short range, everything. I can't even reach the shuttle's emergency beacon." "That's not good," Tor muttered. Evan stared at the wreck behind them. Their ship, their ride home, broken beyond hope. "So," Lena said quietly, "we're stranded." No one argued. Hale looked at each of them in turn. "First priority is survival. We need water, shelter, and a safe area to regroup. Second priority is restoring communications or finding high ground for a signal. We stay together. No wand wanders off alone." Everyone nodded. They gathered what they could from the wreck: emergency rations, a portable power unit, medkits, a scammer, a small water purifier. Not much else survived. Evan noticed the sand near the crash site wasn't smooth. It looked disturbed, like something had shifted beneath it during impact. He brushed it aside with his boot. The sand fell away too easily, like powder over something firmer. "Captain," Evan said, pointing. "Look at this." Hale stepped closer. He crouched and touched the ground. Stone beneath sand. "Natural?" Lena asked. "Maybe," Hale said, "but it's too flat." They uncovered more with their hands. Beneath the sand was a smooth black surface, almost glassy, like polished obsidian. "Volcanic rock?" Tor suggested. "Possibly," Hale said. "But it's too even." Mira frowned. "This planet wasn't flagged for artificial structures." "Well," Tor said, "neither was our shuttle flagged for crashing." Hale stood. "Not important right now. Let's move away from the wreck. If the fuel ignites, we don't want to be here." They walked inland, away from the beach, toward the trees. The jungle edge was thick and tall, leaves broad and waxy, vines hanging low. Strange flowers glowed faintly in the shade, their centers pulsing with soft blue light. Insects buzzed in slow, lazy patterns. The air smelled wet and alive. Evan had been on alien worlds before, but this one felt different, too quiet. Not silent, exactly. But the sounds didn't layer the way they usually did. On most worlds, you heard wind, birds, insects, movement, distant life. Here, the sounds felt spaced out, like someone had turned the volume knob down on everything. "We should set up camp near the tree line," Hale said. "Not too deep, not too exposed." They chose a flat stretch of ground near the jungle edge. From there, they could see the beach behind them and the trees ahead. Tora treated injuries. Lena cleaned her cut. Mira tried the scanner again. Nothing. Evan helped gather fallen branches and broad leaves for shelter. The trees were tough but flexible, their bark smooth and dark, their leaves thick enough to block sun and light rain. As they worked, Evan noticed something odd. The sand near the jungle edge shifted slightly when no one stepped on it. He stopped. "Did you see that?" he asked. Lena looked up. "See what?" "The ground," Evan said. "It moved." Tor glanced over. "Probably heat." "Maybe," Evan said, though he wasn't convinced. He crouched and pressed his palm into the sand. It felt warm. Too warm for shade. And beneath the top layer it felt soft, almost spongy, before hitting stone again. "That's strange," he murmured. "What?" Hale asked, approaching. "The sand feels alive," Evan said, then shook his head. "That sounds stupid." Hale didn't laugh. He knelt and pressed his own hand into the ground, his brow furrowed slightly. "Not stupid," Hale said. "Just unexpected." "What do you think it is?" Lena asked. "I don't know," Hale said. "But we won't dig into it right now." They finished building a basic shelter before the sun dipped lower. The sky shifted to shades of purple and orange. The two moons grew brighter as daylight faded. Mira finally broke the silence. "I still can't get anything. No signal out, no response from orbit. It's like we're alone in the system." "Maybe the crash damaged the antenna," Tor said. "I checked," Mira replied. "The antenna's fine. It's like something's blocking us." That word hung in the air. Blocking. Evan felt a chill despite the heat. "Could be interference," Lena said. "Solar storms. Planetary magnetic fields." "Could be," Mira said. "But I've never seen it like this." Hale looked toward the jungle. "We'll figure it out. For now, we stay alert." They ate ration bars in silence as the sky darkened. The stars came out, sharp and bright. Too bright, Evan thought. The sky felt closer than it should, like a ceiling pressing down. That's when the lights appeared. Evan saw them first. Out over the ocean, far beyond the reef line, faint blue lights pulsed beneath the surface. At first, he thought it was bioluminescent algae, but then they moved. Slow arcs. Curves. Patterns. "Does anyone else see that?" Evan asked. Lena turned. "What?" "There," Evan said, pointing. Mira squinted. "I see it." "What is it?" Tor asked. "Not sure," Mira said. "Movement's too organized for natural currents." The lights pulsed in a slow rhythm like breathing. Then one brightened sharply, sending a beam of blue light up through the water toward the sky, then faded. "That's not algae," Tor said. "No," Hale agreed. "Is it a ship?" Lena asked. "Too big," Mira said, "and too spread out." The lights slowly drifted farther from shore, then sank beneath the waves and vanished. Silence returned. "Well?" Tor said, trying to sound calm. That's unsettling. Could be native life, Lena said. Deep ocean species. Maybe, Hale said, but we don't assume harmless. They stood there for a long moment, watching the dark water. Then a sound came from the jungle. A low hum. Not an animal call. Not wind. Something deeper. Like the ground itself vibrating. Evan felt it through his boots. "What is that?" Lena whispered. The hum rose slightly, then faded. "Probably tectonic activity," Tor said. "On an island this small?" Mira asked. "Volcanic worlds exist," Tor replied, though he didn't sound confident. Hale said nothing. His eyes stayed on the tree line. Night fully settled. They set up a watch rotation. 2 people awake at all times. The rest, sleep. "I'll take first watch," Hale said. "I can take it too," Evan said. "I'm not tired." Hale studied him for a moment, then nodded. "Fine."
"You're with me." They sat near the shelter, backs against stacked supply crates facing the jungle.
For a while, nothing happened. Insects chirped softly. Leaves rustled. The ocean whispered in the distance. The moons climbed higher. Evan tried to relax, but his nerves wouldn't settle. His mind kept replaying the crash. The lights in the water, the strange feeling beneath the sand. "You okay?" Hale asked quietly. "Yeah," Evan said. "Just thinking. That's dangerous," Hale said dryly. Evan gave a weak smile. Silence stretched between them. Hale had always seemed distant, professional, calm, the kind of commander who inspired trust without ever inviting closeness. Evan respected him, but he'd never felt like he really knew him. Now, sitting here in the dark on an unknown world, the distance felt smaller. Or maybe the danger made everything feel closer. "You did good back there," Hale said. "Helping Lena, opening the hatch." "I just did what I could," Evan replied. "That's what doing good looks like." Evan wasn't sure what to say to that. The jungle shifted. Evan stiffened. "Did you hear that?" "Yes," Hale said quietly. Branches rustled. Leaves parted. Something moved just beyond the tree line. Evan leaned forward. "Animal? Maybe," Hale said. "Don't assume." They watched. A shape emerged from the shadows. It was tall and thin, with long limbs and a narrow torso. Its skin reflected moonlight faintly, almost metallic. Its head was elongated, smooth, without visible eyes or mouth. Evan's breath caught. "What is that?" he whispered. The figure paused at the edge of the trees, as if sensing them. Then it tilted its head slightly, like it was listening. Hale slowly reached for the sidearm at his hip.
"Don't move," Hale murmured. The figure didn't attack.
Instead, it turned and walked back into the jungle. Just like that. Gone. Evan's heart hammered. "Did you see that?" "Yes," Hale said. "That wasn't an animal?" "No." "Was it? Intelligent?" "I don't know," Hale said. "But it was watching." Evan swallowed. "Should we wake the others?" "Not yet," Hale said. "Not unless it comes back." They waited. Nothing happened. Minutes passed. Then more. The jungle remained still. "Maybe we imagined it," Evan said weakly. "No," Hale replied. "We didn't." They stayed alert, scanning the trees. Another hour passed. Then something else happened. The sand shifted again. Not far from their camp, Evan noticed it first. A small mound rose slowly near the edge of their supplies, then flattened again, like something breathing beneath the surface. "Captain," Evan whispered. "The ground." Hale followed his gaze. His jaw tightened slightly. The sand moved again, this time closer. What is that? Evan asked. I don't know, Hale said, but it's under us. Should we wake the others now? Yes, Hale said, quietly. Evan turned to wake Lena and Tor when Hale's hand closed around his wrist. Wait, Hale said. Evan froze. What? Listen. Evan held his breath. At first he heard nothing. Then he felt it, a faint vibration through the ground, a soft pulsing rhythm, like a heartbeat. Thump. Pause. Thump. What is that? Evan whispered. Hale didn't answer right away. His eyes were locked on the sand. The pulsing stopped. Everything went still. Then the jungle lit up. Not with fire, with light. Soft blue and green glows spread through the trees, flowing along branches and leaves like liquid stars. Veins of light pulsed through the plants, forming patterns that stretched deeper into the forest. Lena stirred. What's happening? Stay quiet, Hale said. The lights brightened, then faded, leaving the jungle dark again. Silence returned. Tor sat up. Why do I feel like something just looked at us? Because something probably did, Mira said softly, now awake as well. Evan glanced at Hale. The captain's face was unreadable, but something in his eyes had changed. A deeper focus, a tighter edge. This place isn't right, Tor muttered. No, Hale agreed. It isn't. Mira rubbed her arms. The energy readings just spiked, all across the scanner. Then vanished. Could it be the plants? Lena asked. Bioluminescence? Not like that, Mira said. That wasn't random. It was synchronized. Evan looked around the camp. Where did that figure go? What figure? Tor asked. Evan explained. Lena's eyes widened. You're serious?
Yes, and you didn't wake us?
Tar said. It left, Evan said. We thought, maybe nothing, Tor snapped. We're not alone. Hale raised a hand. Enough. Panicking won't help. So what will? Mira asked. Observation, Hale said. Patience. We gather data. We stay together. We stay alive. They fell quiet again. The night dragged on. Nothing else appeared. No more lights. No more movement. But the tension never faded. When dawn finally came, the sky turned pale gold, and the jungle looked normal again. Birds chirped, insects buzzed, the ocean shimmered peacefully. It almost felt like the night had been a dream. Almost. Evan walked along the edge of camp, scanning the ground. He noticed faint depressions in the sand near the tree line. Narrow, like footprints, but not human. He crouched, studying them. Captain, he said, you should see this. Hale came over. He studied the marks carefully. These weren't here yesterday, Hale said. No? Direction? Lena asked. Toward the camp, Evan said. Mira swallowed. So something came close. And left? Yes, Hale said. Should we move? Tor asked. Not yet, Hale replied. We need information and shelter. Lena scanned the jungle. What if there's more? There probably is, Hale said calmly. That didn't help. They spent the morning exploring the nearby area in pairs, never straying far from camp. The jungle was dense but passable. Strange flowers opened when they approached, then closed again when they moved away. Vines shifted slightly, like they were adjusting themselves. This plant reacts to body heat, Lena said, kneeling beside a fern-like structure that curled inward when she touched it. That's unusual. Alive enough to notice, Tor said. Ah. Everything's alive enough to notice, Lena replied. Evan walked with Hale along the beach. The sand was smoother here, darker near the waterline. Strange shells dotted the shore, shaped like spirals but flattened, with faint, glowing lines along their edges. Never seen biology like this, Evan said. Neither have I, Hale said. They reached a rocky outcrop, where black stone rose from the sand like jagged glass. Evan climbed onto one and looked out across the ocean. Nothing but water and sky, no ships, no debris, no signs of rescue. Do you think anyone knows where we crashed? Evan asked. Yes, Hale said. Then why hasn't anyone come? Hale hesitated, just for a second. Maybe they can't reach us yet, he said. Or maybe something's blocking them. That word again. Blocking. They returned to camp. Mira had set up the scanner on a flat stone and was frowning at the readings. This planet's magnetic field is wrong, she said. Not unstable, structured. Structured how? Tor asked. Like it's shaped, Mira replied. Directed. By what? Lena asked. I don't know. Hale watched her quietly. Later, as the sun climbed higher, the heat became heavy. The air felt thicker, pressing down. Sweat clung to Evan's skin. Even the breeze felt warm. I'm going to check the shuttle again, Tor said. Maybe I missed something. I'll go with you, Lena said. Stay within sight, Hale said. They left, heading back toward the wreck. Mira went back to scanning. Evan stayed near the shelter with Hale. I don't like this place, Evan said finally. No, Hale said. Neither do I. Then why do I feel like you know something you're not saying? Hale glanced at him. Why do you think that? 'Cause you're not acting like this is just a crash. Evan said, You're acting like we walked into something. Hale was quiet. Then he said, Sometimes experience tells you when a situation is wrong, even before you understand why. That's not an answer. No, Hale agreed. But it's the truth. Evan frowned. Did Command know about this planet? No, Hale said. At least not officially. That doesn't sound reassuring. It isn't meant to be. A distant shout came from the direction of the wreck. Captain! Lena's voice echoed. You need to see this. They ran. Near the shuttle, Tor stood frozen beside a patch of disturbed sand near the hull. What? Hale asked. Tor pointed. That wasn't here before. The sand had collapsed inward, revealing a dark opening beneath the wreck. A tunnel, smooth-walled, perfectly round, descending into darkness. That's not natural, Lena whispered. No, Hale said. It isn't. Could the crash have caused this? Evan asked. Not like this, Hale said. Then what did? Before anyone could answer, the tunnel wall shifted. Just slightly, like something breathing. Everyone stepped back. Okay, Tor said. That's officially bad. The ground around the opening vibrated faintly. Hale drew his sidearm. Everyone move away from the hole. They retreated slowly. The vibration stopped. Nothing came out. Silence returned. Did we wake something up? Lena asked. Maybe, Hale said. Mira's voice came through the comm unit. Captain, energy readings just spiked again. Stronger this time. From where? Hale asked. Everywhere, Mira said, but centered under the island. Under the island. Evan felt cold. They returned to camp quickly. What's under the island? Tor asked. I don't know, Mira said, but something big. What kind of big? Lena asked. Not size, Mira said. Power. They sat in uneasy silence. The sun began to dip again. The second sunset on the island felt heavier than the first. No one spoke much during dinner. Even Tor, Usually the talkative one was quiet. As darkness fell, the jungle grew still again. Too still. Mira set up the scanner for continuous monitoring. Lena organized medical supplies. Tor reinforced the shelter. Evan found himself standing near Hale again. "Captain," Evan said softly. "Yes? Do you really think this place is empty?" "No," Hale said. "I think it's watching us." That answer made Evan's stomach drop. "Then why are we here?" Evan asked. Hale looked toward the jungle, the ocean, the sky. "I don't know," he said, "but I intend to find out." A low sound echoed from the distance. Not a roar, not a cry, a hum, deep, powerful, slow. The ground vibrated faintly beneath their feet. Everyone froze. "What is that?" Lena whispered. Mira checked her scanner. Energy surge again. Bigger. "From where?" Tor asked. "Everywhere," Mira said. "The whole island." The hum grew louder, then stopped suddenly. Silence crashed down. Then the lights returned. This time not just in the jungle. The sand glowed faintly beneath their feet. Thin lines of blue light traced patterns across the ground, forming shapes that looked almost like symbols. The trees pulsed again, brighter than before. The air itself seemed to shimmer. "What's happening?" Tor whispered. "I don't know," Lena said, her voice shaking. Mira stared at the scanner. "This isn't natural. This is... organized." The lights faded. Darkness returned. No one moved. No one spoke. Then Hale turned to Evan. "Stay close to me tonight," he said quietly. Evan blinked. "What?" "Stay close," Hale repeated. "No matter what happens." "Why?" Evan asked. Hale met his eyes. "This place isn't empty." Evan felt something twist in his chest. The jungle rustled. Somewhere in the dark, something shifted. And for the first time since the crash, Evan truly understood. They weren't stranded. They were being observed. And whatever lived on this island had finally decided to notice them. The sky lightened in soft shades of gray and gold. The ocean shimmered gently. Birds with long wings and thin bodies glided low over the water before disappearing into the jungle. For a moment, everything looked peaceful, but no one felt calm. Evan woke with a tight chest and the feeling that he hadn't truly slept at all. His body ached from the crash, and from tension he hadn't noticed building. He pushed himself upright and scanned the camp. Lena was already awake, sitting near the supplies, rubbing her arms as if cold. Tor was stretching near the shelter. Mira knelt beside the scanner, eyes focused on the glowing screen. Captain Hale stood at the edge of camp, staring into the jungle, and nothing moved in the trees. No glowing lights, no strange figures, no shifting sand. But Evan knew better now. This place didn't need to move to feel alive. "Any changes?" Evan asked quietly as he walked toward Mira. She shook her head. "No new signals, but the background energy here is... wrong. It's too clean. Too stable." "What does that mean?" Tor asked. "It means something is maintaining it," Mira said. "Natural systems fluctuate. This doesn't." "That's comforting," Tor muttered. Hale turned back to them. "We moved today. We need high ground. If something is blocking signals, altitude might help." "And if something is watching us?" Lena asked. "Then staying in one place won't help," Hale said. "At least moving gives us options." Evan nodded. "Where to?" Hale pointed inland. "Those cliffs. If we can reach the top, we might get a clear transmission." "That jungle doesn't look friendly," Tor said. "It doesn't have to be friendly," Hale replied. Just passable. They packed light. Food rations. Medkits. The scanner. The purifier. The power unit. Each of them carried a pack. Tar favored his leg but could walk. Lena moved carefully, her earlier injury stiff but healing. Before they left, Evan glanced back at the sand near the shelter. It looked smooth, normal, but he didn't trust it. They entered the jungle. The temperature dropped slightly beneath the canopy. Thick leaves blocked most of the sunlight, turning the world into shades of green and shadow. The ground was soft with moss and fallen leaves. Thick vines hung between trees, some thin as string, others thick as cables. Lena moved ahead, examining plants as they walked. These leaves absorb heat, she said, brushing one gently. That's why it's cooler here. That's nice, Tor said. I vote we stay in the shade forever. Mira snorted softly. Evan stayed close to Hale, just like the captain had said the night before. He wasn't sure why Hale had chosen him, but he didn't argue. The jungle was quiet again. Too quiet. Every step felt loud. Every snapped twig sounded like an alarm. After about 20 minutes, Lena stopped suddenly. Hold on, she said. What? Hale asked. Look at this. She pointed to the ground. The soil ahead was smooth and dark, not like dirt or stone. It looked almost polished, like black glass buried beneath the forest floor. Leaves rested on top of it, but none seemed to decay. This surface again, Evan said, like near the crash site. Yes, Lena said. Same texture, same material. Mira crouched beside it and scanned it. It's emitting low energy. Very low, but steady. Natural, Tor asked. No, Mira said. Too uniform. Hale studied the area. Does it go far? Lena brushed aside more leaves. The surface extended in a straight line, like a road. This isn't natural, Tor said. No way, agreed, Hale said. But we're not stopping. We follow the path. Why? Evan asked. Because whatever made it probably knew where it was going, Hale said. And right now, we don't. They followed the black surface deeper into the jungle. The trees around it changed. Their trunks grew thicker, their leaves broader. Some plants glowed faintly along their veins, even in daylight. Evan noticed that insects avoided the surface. None crawled on it. None flew over it. They kept to the soil on either side. That's weird, he said. Everything about this place is weird, Tor replied. After another stretch of walking, the path widened. Then they saw the pillars. They rose from the ground in pairs, lining the path like ancient markers. Each one was tall and narrow, made of the same black material as the surface. Smooth, unbroken, no cracks, no signs of wear. Carved into each pillar were symbols, not letters, not pictures, something in between. They seemed to shift when Evan tried to focus on them, like the shapes didn't want to stay still in his mind. What are those? Lena whispered. Writing? Tor suggested. Maybe, Mira said, but not in any system I recognize. Hale ran his hand over one pillar. These aren't weathered. They're intact. Whatever built this wasn't here millions of years ago. So someone lived here, Lena said. Or something, Tor added. And then left? Evan asked. Or hid? Mira said quietly. They stood there, in silence. Then Mira's scanner beeped softly. Energy spike, she said. Localized. From where? Hale asked. Below us. Everyone froze. Below us? Tor repeated. Like underground? Yes, Mira said. Deep underground. The ground beneath their feet felt solid, stable, no signs of collapse. Could be a cave system, Lena said. Or something else, Tor said. Hale looked down the path. We keep moving. They passed between the pillars, following the black surface as it led them deeper into the jungle. The air grew heavier. The light dimmed. The trees leaned inward, forming a natural tunnel. Evan felt watched again, not like eyes on his back, more like something listening. How far is the cliff? Tor asked. Hard to tell, Mira said, but elevation readings say we're getting closer. Then something happened. Mira stopped walking. Mira? Evan said. What's wrong? She didn't answer. She stood perfectly still, her eyes unfocused, staring at nothing. Mira, Lena said, touching her arm gently. Are you okay? Mira blinked once. Then her mouth opened. 3.7 degrees north, she said softly. What? Tor asked. 2.1 east, Mira continued. Depth, unknown. Mira, Hale said firmly. Look at me. She didn't. Her breathing grew shallow. Her eyes moved rapidly, like she was watching something no one else could see. Mira, Lena said, louder now. Talk to me. Her knees buckled. Evan caught her before she hit the ground. Easy, Evan said. I've got you. What just happened? Tor asked. I don't know, Lena said, kneeling beside them. Mira blinked again and looked around, confused. Why are you all staring at me? You stopped walking, Evan said. You started saying coordinates. I did? Mira frowned. I don't remember that. Do you feel dizzy? Lena asked. No, Mira said slowly. Just strange. Like I was dreaming. About what? Tor asked. I don't know, Mira said. I just saw light. And lines. And something moving very fast. Hale studied her. Can you repeat the numbers you said? Mira frowned harder. I don't remember them. But you said them clearly, Tar said. Oh. North. I don't know, Mira said. It's gone. That's not comforting, Tar muttered. Hale nodded. We keep going. But no one walks alone. Stay close. They moved slower after that. Every sound felt louder, every shadow deeper. After another 10 minutes, the trees thinned. The jungle opened into a wide clearing. In the center of it stood something impossible, a structure. Not ruins, not broken stone, perfect. Smooth black walls rose from the ground in a wide circle, forming a massive, ring-shaped building. The surface reflected light like polished glass. No doors, no windows, no visible seams, just a solid dark ring half buried in the earth. What is that? Lena whispered. Not natural, Tor said flatly. No, Hale agreed. Definitely not. Mira stepped closer, scanner raised. Energy readings are off the scale. Energy readings are off the scale. But stable. How can something that powerful just sit here? Evan asked. Maybe it's not just sitting, Lena said. They circled the structure cautiously. Evan noticed faint lines etched into its surface, almost invisible unless the light hit at the right angle. The lines formed shapes similar to the symbols on the pillars. Writing again, he said. But what does it say? Tor asked. Probably do not enter, Tor added after a pause, which means we're about to. Hale smiled faintly. Probably, Captain. Lena said, we don't know what this is.
That's true, Hale said. But it's also the most advanced thing we've seen since we arrived.
If anyone built this, they might have left something useful behind. Or dangerous, Tor said. Both, Hale said. They searched the surface for any opening. Nothing, Evan said. No doors, no cracks. Wait, Mira said. Here. She pointed to a section near the ground where the surface shimmered faintly like heat distortion. That's energy. She reached out. Hale grabbed her wrist. Don't. Mira froze. I know, Hale said. But we don't touch unknown tech. Mira nodded and stepped back. Then how do we get in? Tor asked. Maybe we don't, Lena said. Maybe we listen. Listen to what? Tor said. Everything, Lena replied. This place feels like it wants something. That's not how buildings work, Tor said. Neither do glowing jungles, Lena replied. Hale studied the shimmering section. Back away. They stepped back. The shimmer brightened. A soft hum filled the air. The surface rippled. Then it opened. Not like a door, like liquid parting. A dark opening formed in the wall, smooth and oval, large enough for a person to walk through. Everyone froze. Okay, Tor said. That's worse. No, Evan said, that's definitely worse. Hale raised his weapon. No sudden movements. The opening stayed still. Nothing came out. Nothing moved inside, just darkness. Captain, Lena whispered. We don't have to go in. No, Hale agreed. We don't, but we should. Why? Tor asked. Because this structure opened when we arrived, Hale said. Not before. That means it detected us. And, Tor said. And that means it's already interacting with us, Hale said, whether we like it or not. Silence fell. Then Evan spoke. I'll go. Everyone turned to him. What? Tor said. No. I'm not saying alone, Evan said, but we can't just walk away. This thing might be connected to everything else here. The lights, the sand, the signal blockage. Hale studied him. You're volunteering? Yes. Hale nodded once. All right. But we go together. Not all of us, Lena said. Someone stays outside. Tor and Lena stay, Hale said. Mira, Evan, you're with me. Why them? Tor asked. Evan because he's steady, Hale said. Mira because she understands systems. Tor didn't argue. Neither did Lena. They approached the opening slowly. The air near it felt colder. Not cold, exactly. Empty. Like stepping into shade that wasn't connected to light. Evan's heart hammered as he crossed the threshold. Inside, the light changed instantly. The walls glowed faintly blue, revealing a wide corridor that curved gently downward. The floor was smooth and warm beneath their boots. The air was clean, no dust, no scent. This place is intact, Mira whispered. No decay, Evan said. No damage. Which means it's still active, Hale said. The opening sealed behind them. Evan flinched. We're locked in, he said. Not necessarily, Hale replied. But yes, probably. The corridor led downward in a gentle slope. The walls pulsed faintly, almost like breathing. Do you hear that? Mira asked. No, Evan said. I do, Mira said. A hum. A hum. Very low. Evan listened harder. Then he heard it. A vibration in the air. A sound you felt more than heard. They walked deeper. After a short distance, the corridor opened into a vast chamber. Evan stopped dead. The room was massive, easily the size of a stadium. The ceiling arched high above, glowing softly. In the center stood a structure that looked like a tree made of light, its branches stretching outward, touching smaller platforms that floated around it. Lines of glowing energy ran between the platforms like veins. "What is this?" Evan whispered. "Not a power plant," Mira said slowly. "Not exactly. This feels more like a network." "Of what?" Evan asked.
I don't know, she said. Information.
"Energy. Both." Hale scanned the room. "Any threats?" "None I can see," Evan said. Mira moved closer to one of the floating platforms. Symbols shimmered across its surface. "These are the same shapes as the pillars," she said, "but clearer." "Can you read them?" Evan asked. "No," Mira said, "but I feel like I almost can." "That's not how reading works," Evan said. "I know," Mira replied. "That's why it's strange." Suddenly, the light in the chamber brightened. The central structure pulsed. A wave of energy swept across the room. Mira gasped. She staggered backward. "Mira!" Evan shouted. She dropped to her knees. Hale rushed to her side. "Mira!" Her eyes were wide, unfocused. "I see it," she whispered. "See what?" Evan asked. "Everything," she said. "The island, the ocean, the sky, the layers under the ground." "Mira, focus," Hale said. "Talk to me." She looked at him, fear in her eyes. "It's watching us." "What is?" Evan asked. "The system," she said. "This place. The island. It's not natural. It's built." "We know that," Hale said. "Built by who?" "I don't know," Mira said. "But it's old. Very old. And it's still active? Doing what?" Evan asked. "Waiting," she said. "For what?" Hale asked. "For us," Mira whispered. The central structure pulsed again. Mira screamed. She clutched her head and collapsed fully onto the floor. "Mira!" Evan shouted. He dropped beside her, gripping her shoulders. "Stay with me," he said. "Stay with me." Her breathing was fast and shallow. Lena's voice crackled through the comm unit. "Captain, what's happening in there?" "We just felt something." The ground shook.
"Mira's down," Hale said into the unit.
"Unknown cause. Stay alert." "What happened?" Lena asked. "I don't know," Hale said. "But something interacted with her." Evan held Mira's hand. Hey, it's okay. You're here. You're with us." Her eyes fluttered. Then she gasped sharply. Her body went rigid for a second. Then relaxed. She opened her eyes. "Evan," she said weakly. "I'm here," he said. "You're okay?" She blinked. "Why are we inside?" "You don't remember?" Hale asked. "No," she said slowly. "Last thing I remember is walking through the jungle."
You collapsed in here, Evan said.
"Twice now. Twice," Mira whispered. "Yes," Hale said. "You froze earlier. Outside." Her eyes widened. "I did?" "Yes." She looked around the chamber, breathing faster. "I don't like this place." "That makes all of us," Evan said. Mira pushed herself up, leaning against Evan for support. "I think something is linking to me," she said. "What?" Evan asked. "This system," Mira said. "It's not just scanning. It's reaching." "Reaching for what?" Hale asked. "For minds," she said. "For awareness." "That's not possible," Evan said. "Neither is this place," Mira replied. The light in the room dimmed slightly. Then the symbols across the platforms shifted. One of the floating panels lowered itself toward them. Evan's breath caught.
"Captain?" he said. "I see it," Hale replied.
The panel stopped in front of them, hovering at chest height. Symbols flowed across its surface. Then the symbols rearranged and rearranged again. Then slowly, clumsily, they formed shapes Evan recognized. Not letters exactly, but close. "What is that?" Evan whispered. Mira stared. "It's trying." "Trying what?" Hale asked. "To communicate," she said. The shapes changed again. This time they formed something clearer. Not words, but images, stars, lines, points of light. Then one point glowed brighter than the rest. A system. A familiar system. "Is that our home system?" Evan asked. "Yes," Mira said. "It is. Why would this place know that?" Evan asked. "Because it's been watching," Mira said. The image zoomed out, revealing dozens of star systems connected by faint lines. Then hundreds, then thousands. "This is a network," Mira said. "A surveillance network." "Built by who?" Evan asked. "I don't know," Mira said. "But it's older than anything we've found before." The image shifted again. Now it showed a planet. Not this one. A different one. A lush world, blue and green. Then the image changed. The same planet. Burning. Oceans boiling. Cities collapsing. Fire across continents. "What is that?" Evan whispered. "A destruction," Mira said. "A collapse." The image shifted again. Another world. Another destruction. Again and again. Each time a different planet, a different species. All destroyed. "Captain," Evan said quietly, "this place isn't a research station." "No," Hale said. "It's something else." The image stopped on a final system, highlighted in bright white. Their system. Earth's system. Evan felt his stomach drop. "No," he whispered. "That's not possible." "It is," Mira said. "It's marked." "Marked for what?" Evan asked. The panel pulsed. Then new symbols formed. Mira squinted. "It's classification. Threat levels." "Threat to who?" Evan asked. "To others," Mira said to stability. Hale's jaw tightened. "Why would humanity be classified as a threat?" Mira swallowed. "Because, according to this, civilizations that expand too fast, alter ecosystems too deeply, or rebuild after extinction events too often are flagged." "Rebuild after extinction?" Evan asked. "Yes," Mira said. "It's rare. Most species collapse once and disappear. Humanity didn't." Silence fell. "That's not a bad thing," Evan said weakly. "To us," Mira said. "But to whoever built this, it might be." The lights dimmed again. The central structure pulsed harder. A new image appeared. This island. From above, then below. Layers beneath the surface. Massive structures buried deep underground. "This isn't just a building," Mira said. "The whole island is part of the system." "And why are we here?" Evan asked. "I think," Mira said slowly, "because we triggered something." "By crashing?" Evan asked. "Yes," she said. "Our impact probably woke dormant systems." "And now?" Hale asked. "And now it's evaluating us," Mira said. "How?" Evan asked. "I don't know," she said. "But I don't like the answer." Suddenly the images vanished. The chamber darkened. The floor vibrated faintly. "What's happening?" Evan asked. Mira's scanner went wild. Energy surge, stronger than before. "Is it dangerous?" Hale asked. "I don't know," Mira said. "But it's not passive." Then something moved in the shadows. At the edge of the chamber, a shape. Tall, thin, reflective skin, the same figure Evan had seen the night before. "There," he whispered. "That thing." Hale raised his weapon. "Huh. Don't move." The figure didn't attack. It tilted its head, just like before. Mira gasped. "That's not a creature." "What?" Evan asked. "It's a construct," Mira said. "A physical interface." "For what?" Hale asked. "For the system," Mira said. The figure stepped forward. The ground didn't move beneath its feet. It glided. "Okay," Tor's voice crackled through the comm unit. "Captain, we're getting strange readings outside. The jungle's lighting up again." "Understood," Hale said. "Stay where you are." The figure stopped a few meters away. It raised one long arm. The air shimmered. Evan felt pressure in his skull like a deep vibration behind his eyes. He winced. "Captain," he whispered. "Something's happening. I feel it," Hale said. Mira clutched her head. "It's trying to connect again." "Stop it!" Evan shouted at the figure. "Stop!" The figure tilted its head again. The pressure increased. Then Mira screamed. "Enough!" Hale shouted. He fired. The energy bolt passed through the figure like it wasn't there, striking the wall behind it and dissipating harmlessly. "That didn't work," Evan said. "No," Hale replied. The pressure stopped suddenly. Mira collapsed against Evan, gasping. I can't block it," she said. "What does it want?" Evan asked. "I don't know," she said. "But it's studying what?" Evan asked. "Us," she said. "Our minds." The figure lowered its arm. The chamber lights stabilized. The pressure faded. "Captain," Lena's voice came through the comm unit, tight with fear. The jungle just lit up again. "The ground is vibrating." Hale spoke into the unit. "We're exiting. Stay alert." "Exiting how?" Tor asked. Hale looked around. "Same way we came in." The opening reappeared in the wall behind them. "Move," Hale said. They backed away slowly, eyes on the figure. It didn't follow. It just stood there, watching. They crossed the threshold, the opening sealed behind them. The jungle light dimmed almost immediately. The ground stopped vibrating. The forest went quiet again. Tar and Lena rushed toward them. "What happened?" Lena asked. "Mira collapsed," Evan said. "Twice. Something inside affected her." Mira leaned heavily against Evan. "That place isn't safe." "No kidding," Tor said. Hale looked back at the sealed wall. "We just found something far bigger than a shelter." "Then why does it feel like it found us?" Lena asked. "Because it probably did," Hale said. Mira lifted her head. "Captain, that system isn't dead. We figured that out," Tor said. "No," Mira said. "I mean, it's active. Watching. Evaluating." "For what?" Evan asked. "For threats," Mira said quietly. Silence fell. "Threats to who?" Lena asked. "I don't know," Mira said. "But humanity is on its list." No one spoke for a long moment. Then Tor said, "Okay." "That's bad." "Yes," Hale agreed. "It is." Mira closed her eyes. "There's more." "What?" Evan asked. "That system isn't just watching us," she said. "It's connected to something else." "What else?" Hale asked. "Something deep," she said. "Something buried beneath the island." "How deep?" Tor asked. "I don't know," Mira said. "But big." "How big?" Evan asked. She opened her eyes and looked at him. "Planet big," she said. The jungle rustled. Not From wind, not from animals, from something moving. Close, Captain, Lena whispered. Did you hear that? Yes, Hale said. From where? Tor asked. Everywhere, Hale replied. The ground beneath them vibrated faintly again, then stopped, then vibrated again, stronger. Mira clutched her head. It's waking up. What is? Evan asked. The core, she whispered. The heart of the system. The trees around them pulsed faintly with light again. The sand near their feet shimmered. Captain, Evan said. What do we do? Hale looked at each of them in turn. We survive, he said. Then we find a way off this island. And the system? Tor asked. Hale's jaw tightened. We deal with it. They moved quickly back toward camp. The jungle felt tighter now, closer, like the trees were leaning inward. Evan felt eyes on his back the whole way. When they reached the clearing, the shelter was intact, but the ground near it was cracked in thin lines that glowed faintly blue before fading. What happened here? Lena whispered. Something moved, Tor said. Mira dropped onto a supply crate, exhausted. It's accelerating. What is? Evan asked. The system, she said. Whatever it was doing before, passive monitoring, that's over. Then what's it doing now? Tor asked. Preparing, she said. For what? Lena asked. Mira looked up at them, fear clear in her eyes. For response, she said. The sun dipped toward the horizon. Shadows stretched long across the clearing. The jungle grew quiet again. Too quiet. Evan sat beside Mira. What did it do to you in there? She hesitated. It showed me things. Like what? He asked. Other worlds, she said. Civilizations. Some advanced, some young. All watched. And? Evan asked. And some erased, she said softly. Lena swallowed. Erased how? I don't know, Mira said. But completely. No ruins, no trace. Just gone. That's impossible, Tor said. Not for something that can build a planet-wide system, Mira said. Hale stood nearby, listening quietly. Captain, Mira said, it doesn't see us as people. What does it see us as? Evan asked. She met his eyes. A pattern, she said. The air grew heavier as night approached. The two moons rose again. The ocean glowed faintly at the horizon. Evan remembered the lights beneath the water from the first night. He didn't think they were natural anymore. Captain, Evan said quietly, why did you tell me to stay close to you last night? Hale looked at him. Because I sensed something was targeting command-level neural signatures, Hale said. What does that mean? Evan asked. It means the system reacts more strongly to certain patterns, Hale said. Leadership, decision-making structures. So, you? Evan said. Yes, Hale said. Then why stay close to me? Evan asked. Because it didn't react to you, Hale said. Not at first, Evan frowned. And now? Hale didn't answer right away. Now, Hale said slowly, I'm not sure. The jungle rustled again, closer this time. A shadow moved between trees. Then another. Captain, Tor whispered. Movement. I see it, Hale said. Tall shapes emerged at the edge of the clearing. Not one, not two, several. Thin, reflective, featureless. The constructs. They stood still, half hidden by trees, watching. How many? Lena whispered. At least 4, Evan said. They're not attacking, Tor said. No, Hale said. They're observing. Mira shivered. They're waiting. For what? Evan asked. For the system to decide, she said. The shapes didn't move. The lights in the jungle pulsed faintly. The ground vibrated softly beneath their feet, then stopped. Silence fell again. The construct slowly stepped back into the trees and vanished. No attack, no sound, just gone. Evan let out a breath he hadn't realized he was holding. That's worse than if they attacked, Tor muttered. Yes, Hale agreed. Mira looked up at the sky. The system isn't finished with us. What does it want? Lena asked. I don't know, Mira said. But I think it's testing. Testing what? Evan asked. Us, she said. Our reactions. Our decisions. Our instincts. That's messed up, Tor said. Maybe, Mira said, but it's real. The stars brightened. The night deepened. Hale turned to Evan quietly. Stay close to me tonight, again. Evan nodded. Yeah. They set watch rotations again, but no one truly slept. The jungle stayed quiet. No lights, no shapes, no movement. But the feeling remained. That something massive was shifting beneath the island. That something ancient had woken up. And that humanity, by accident, had just stepped into a system that was never meant to be found. Somewhere deep underground. Something pulsed. And for the first time in centuries, it wasn't watching. It was preparing. The sun barely rose above the horizon, casting a pale orange glow across the island. Shadows stretched long and thin over the sand, making the camp seem smaller than it really was. The survivors stirred slowly, each of them aware that last night had changed everything. Evan helped Mira sit up, careful not to jostle her. Her face was pale, her eyes wide with a mixture of fear and exhaustion. Lena handed Mira a ration bar, and she ate slowly, trembling. Do you remember anything from last night? Evan asked gently. Mira shook her head. Nothing, just flashes. Systems, lights, planets, and that figure. It's still in my mind. Hale surveyed the camp silently, his usual calm replaced with a tension Evan hadn't seen before. The captain's hand hovered near his sidearm, though no immediate threat was visible. The constructs might have retreated, but I don't trust this place, Hale said finally. The system is evaluating us. We need to understand it before it decides our fate. Before it decides to destroy us, Tor muttered from across the clearing. That's a possibility, Hale replied. We need information. Knowledge is our only chance. The group packed their gear carefully, moving slowly to avoid disturbing the forest. Every sound echoed unusually loud in the quiet morning, making each step feel dangerous. Even the wind seemed sharper, as if the island itself was listening. They returned to the black surface that led to the ring-shaped structure. The polished material shimmered faintly under the morning light, almost as if it were aware of their presence. Mira's hands hovered over the scanner. I don't like this, she said. It's active again. I can feel it. Then we go together, Hale said. No one walks alone. As they moved along the path, the trees seemed to lean inward more aggressively, their branches forming a canopy that blocked out most of the sunlight. The air was thick and heavy, carrying a faint hum that Evan hadn't noticed before. It wasn't just from the jungle, it was from the island itself. The pillars appeared again, stretching in pairs along the path. The symbols shifted subtly as they approached, almost like the markings were alive, reacting to their presence. Mira's scanner beeped rapidly, though the readings were impossible to interpret. I can't make sense of it, she muttered, frowning. The energy is fluctuating, not random, but not stable either. Evan stayed close to Hale, just as the captain had instructed. He could feel a subtle pull in his mind, almost like someone, or something, was trying to guide his thoughts. He pushed it away, focusing on the ground and the pillars. Suddenly, Lena stopped. She held up her hand and pointed to the ground. "Look at this," she whispered. Evan knelt beside her. The black surface had changed. Lines of faint blue light ran through it, forming intricate patterns that pulsed slowly. The patterns weren't random. They resembled constellations, planets, and strange symbols Mira had seen inside the structure. "It's a map," Mira said softly, her voice tense. "A star map, but not ours. At least, not entirely." "Why is it here?" Tor asked. "On the ground?" "Because it wants us to see it," Mira replied. "Or it wants to communicate." Hale studied the patterns. "We need to remember this. It might be the key to understanding the system." They traced the lines with their fingers, careful not to touch the surface directly. The blue glow reacted to their proximity, intensifying slightly when Evan's hand hovered over a cluster of symbols. Suddenly, the ground trembled. A low, vibrating hum filled the jungle, and the pillars along the path shivered as if alive. Mira dropped to her knees, clutching her head. "It's connecting," she screamed. "Connect to what?" Evan shouted, gripping her shoulders. "The system. It's trying to integrate me again," she gasped. "It wants something from me." Hale stepped forward, weapon raised. "Stop it!" "Evan, hold her steady." The blue lines pulsed rapidly, sending tiny arcs of energy through the air. Evan could feel the hum inside his chest, as if the island was breathing through him. The sensation was overwhelming, but he held Mira tightly, willing her to stay conscious. Then, as abruptly as it began, the energy receded. Mira slumped against Evan, trembling. Her eyes were wide and unfocused. "We have to go back," she whispered. "It's too much. I can't handle it for long." Hale nodded. "We retreat for now, but we will return. We need that information." The group moved quickly, retreating through the jungle. The black surface beneath their feet remained calm, the pulsing lines fading behind them. The pillars flanked the path silently, their symbols static once more. When they reached camp, they paused. The sun was higher now, casting bright light over the clearing. The forest seemed normal, almost peaceful, but Evan knew better. The island was still watching. Lena set up the supplies, and Tor checked the perimeter. Hale spoke quietly with Mira, who sat hunched over, still trembling. Evan sat nearby, keeping a watchful eye on the jungle. "What did it show you?" Evan asked softly. Mira hesitated. "Visions of planet civilizations, some alive, some gone. And the system. It's massive, older than anything we know. And it's not neutral. It categorizes, it evaluates, it destroys if necessary." "Then why aren't we dead?" Evan asked. "Because we're different," Mira said slowly. "It sees potential, intelligence, decisions. We're interesting." "Interesting?" Tor scoffed. "I don't feel interesting. I feel terrified." "Same here," Lena said. "But she's right. We made a choice the system didn't expect. We survived the crash. We're reacting in ways it didn't predict." Hale nodded. "That's why I want to stay together. It might target patterns it doesn't understand. Our teamwork, our instincts, they make us harder to classify." Evan swallowed. "So what now?" Hale glanced toward the jungle. "We rest. Observe. Plan our next move carefully. We can't rush in blindly." Hours passed slowly. The sun climbed higher, then dipped lower again. The island seemed calm, but Evan noticed subtle changes. The rustle of leaves that didn't match the wind, faint flickers of light beneath the trees, and a low vibration that came and went unpredictably. Mira remained close, occasionally murmuring to herself as she tried to process the visions from the structure. Tor and Lena took turns on watch, while Hale and Evan discussed their approach in whispers. "Do you think it can hear us?" Evan asked quietly. "It probably can," Hale replied. "We need to assume it's aware of every thought, every movement, even our fears." Evan shivered. "That makes it worse than any predator I've faced." Hale didn't answer. He simply stared toward the jungle, eyes sharp, body tense. Night came quickly. The moons rose, casting silver light across the camp. Shadows stretched unnaturally long, and Evan felt the familiar sensation of being watched. The forest wasn't silent anymore. Small rustles, faint whispers, and glimmers of movement hinted at the unseen presence of the constructs. Hale ordered them to rest close together. Evan stayed by his side, keeping Mira steady as she drifted in and out of uneasy sleep. Lena and Tor were nearby, alert despite exhaustion. Hours passed. The jungle remained alive, but nothing approached the camp directly. Still, Evan couldn't shake the feeling that the island itself was shifting beneath their feet. Suddenly, a faint pulse ran through the ground, rhythmic and deliberate. Evan's stomach tightened. Mira stirred, eyes snapping open. "It's starting again," she whispered. Hale stood immediately. "Everyone awake. Move carefully toward the ridge. We need higher ground to see what's happening." The team packed quickly, moving through the dark forest. The path to the cliffs was unfamiliar and treacherous, but Evan noticed that the black surface began to appear intermittently along their route, guiding them forward. The blue lines pulsed faintly, leading them like a silent signal. As they climbed, the vibrations in the ground grew stronger. The forest around them shimmered slightly, as if the air itself was filled with energy. Shadows moved between trees, tall, thin figures with reflective surfaces. "The constructs, they're surrounding us," Tor whispered. "Not attacking," Hale said. "Observing." Evan felt a pull in his mind again, stronger than before. The system was reaching, probing, testing. He glanced at Mira, who shivered visibly. Her connection with the system seemed deeper than anyone else's. The climb grew steeper. The air was thick with tension, each step feeling like a challenge. When they finally reached the ridge, the view opened to the ocean beyond. The waves shimmered strangely under the moon's light, reflecting patterns that mirrored the ones from the black surface. Mira gasped. "It's everywhere. The water, the sky, the ground, it's all connected." Hale set up a temporary observation point. "We watch, we record, and we learn. This system won't wait forever, but neither will we." Evan felt the weight of the island pressing down on them. The constructs were still around, blending with the shadows. The energy pulsing through the ground created a hum in his chest. Mira's eyes reflected the glow, fear and awe mingling together. "This is bigger than anything I imagined," she whispered.
Mm-hmm.
"Then we survive," Hale said quietly, "and we understand it before it decides what to do with us." The night stretched on. The forest pulsed with unseen energy. The constructs watched, and somewhere deep beneath the island, the heart of the system stirred, ancient and calculating, preparing for the next evaluation. The humans on the ridge understood only a fraction of what was coming. But one thing was certain. They had no choice but to stay close, to watch, and to survive, whatever the island intended next. The ridge was quiet, but the air felt heavy. The wind carried faint vibrations, almost like distant echoes of machinery beneath the ground. Evan sat close to Mira, keeping her steady as she tried to process everything that had happened. Hale and Tor scanned the forest below, while Lena checked their supplies. The moons shone brightly, casting silver light over the cliffs and the black surface that appeared in patches across the forest. The patterns pulsed softly, faintly lighting the path they had taken. Evan noticed that the shapes resembled circuits more than anything natural, lines connecting points like a map he could not read. "I don't like this," Lena whispered. "Everything is too precise, too perfect. Nothing natural moves like this." "No," Hale said, his eyes narrowed. "It's designed. Every vibration, every pulse, every shimmer, it's part of the system." Evan shivered. "And it's awake now. It's watching us." Mira looked down at the glowing patterns below. "It's not just watching," she said slowly. "It's testing. It wants to see how we react. It wants to understand us." "Then we have to act smart," Hale said. "Observe without showing fear. React without making mistakes." The group stayed on the ridge, keeping close together. Hours passed, the moon circling slowly across the sky. The forest below seemed alive with soft pulses of light, shimmering like a network of veins. Evan felt the vibrations in his chest again. Mira flinched, her hands clutching at his arm. Suddenly, a section of the black surface near the forest shimmered more brightly. Lines of blue light shot upward like beams, connecting with other pulses in the air. The constructs appeared at the edge of the forest, thin and reflective, their shapes shifting slightly. They moved slowly toward the base of the ridge, observing but not attacking. "They're moving," Tor whispered. "Yes," Hale said, "but still watching, not attacking. It's a pattern. The system is communicating through them." Mira's eyes widened. "It's trying to integrate with them. The constructs aren't alive. They're extensions of the system. And now it's learning from us through our reactions." Evan swallowed. "So it's studying us, seeing what we fear, how we move, how we think." "Yes," Mira said. "And every choice we make changes the pattern it sees." Hale studied the forest below. "We need to gather more data. If we understand the patterns, we can predict its next move. Or survive its next move," Evan added. They observed for hours, noting the movement of light, the timing of pulses, and the positions of the constructs. The forest seemed to shift subtly, the shadows lengthening unnaturally, the trees bending slightly as if leaning toward the group. Each flicker of energy beneath the surface sent ripples through the island, vibrations that Evan could feel in his bones. Suddenly, Mira gasped. "Look," she whispered. Evan followed her gaze. A new pulse shot up from the black surface below. The constructs below responded, gliding in perfect synchronization, forming shapes and lines that mirrored the patterns from the ridge. The light spread outward, connecting points across the forest like a web. "It's expanding its awareness," Mira said. "It's mapping everything in real time." "Then we're running out of time," Evan said. "It knows more about us than we know about it." Hale nodded. "We need to move closer without triggering it. We have to understand the heart of the system, the core beneath the island. That's our only chance." The group descended carefully, following faint paths where the black surface pulsed intermittently. The forest grew denser and the vibrations stronger. The constructs glided silently, always just at the edge of their vision, observing, never touching. Evan noticed that each step seemed to trigger tiny reactions. Leaves shivered, shadows shifted, and faint lines of light traced along the forest floor like veins of energy. Mira shivered beside him. "It's everywhere. The system isn't confined to the structure. It's in the ground, the trees, the air." Hale held up his hand. "Stop. Observe first. Every detail matters." They crouched low, watching as a cluster of constructs moved closer to the black surface. Lines of energy flowed from the surface into them, and the shapes above shifted, almost as if the constructs were processing information. Mira's scanner beeped furiously. "I can't track it all," she said. "The energy is too complex. It's learning too fast." Evan swallowed hard. "Then what do we do?" "Stay close," Hale said quietly. "Observe without panicking. We learn from it before it decides what to do with us." The group moved carefully, step by step. Every motion was deliberate. Every sound was calculated. The constructs mirrored them, gliding alongside the black surface, reflecting the faint light of the moons. The forest pulsed with life, but not natural life. It was structured, controlled, aware. Mira's eyes were wide as she scanned the area. "There's a core deeper underground," she said. "I can feel it through the energy lines. The system centers there. That's where it makes decisions, processes information. Then that's where we go," Hale said. "We move carefully, avoid detection, and reach the core." They followed the black surface, which guided them deeper into the forest. The trees grew taller and thicker, blocking out more moonlight. The air was warmer, heavier, almost like the jungle itself was breathing. Lines of faint energy pulsed beneath the surface, guiding them toward the heart of the island. Suddenly, a low hum vibrated through the ground. The constructs moved closer, forming a semicircle around the group. The energy lines below pulsed brighter, and a wave of vibration passed through Evan's chest. Mira stumbled, clutching his arm. "It's testing us again," she whispered. "It wants to see if we panic, if we run." "Don't move," Hale said. "Hold your ground. Observe." The constructs paused, hovering silently. Their reflective surfaces shimmered with light, showing faint patterns from the black surface. Evan could see the lines of energy beneath them, flowing into the constructs, connecting them like nodes in a network. Mira's hands trembled. "It's learning. From everything we do, from every reaction." Hale nodded. "Then we control our reactions. We dictate the pattern it sees." Hours passed. The forest pulsed with energy, the constructs gliding silently, always observing. The black surface beneath their feet led them deeper, eventually forming a spiral pattern that seemed to descend into the ground. Mira's scanner beeped erratically, unable to fully track the energy flow. "This is it," she whispered. "The spiral leads directly to the core. We're close." Evan looked down at the spiral. The lines of blue light formed intricate patterns, almost like a map of the stars she had seen in the structure. The vibrations beneath their feet were stronger now, resonating through every step, every breath. "Be ready," Hale said. "The moment we enter, the system will react. It will evaluate us, probe us, test our decisions." They descended into the spiral carefully. The forest above seemed to fade, replaced by faint glows from the lines beneath. The air was thick with energy, and Evan could feel a subtle pull in his mind, like the island itself was reaching out. Mira clutched his arm tightly. "It's probing deeper," she whispered. "We're part of its assessment now." Evan nodded, though his heart pounded. Every step felt like stepping into another world. The lines of energy pulsed in patterns he couldn't comprehend, moving beneath the surface, around the constructs, connecting the entire island in a network of light and vibration. Suddenly, the path widened into a circular chamber. The floor glowed with intricate lines of energy, and the walls shimmered faintly with pulses. At the center was a raised platform, a massive node of energy that seemed to pulse like a heartbeat. "That's the core," Mira whispered. "Everything connects there. The system's brain, its heart." Evan swallowed hard. "And it knows we're here." "Yes," Mira said, "and it's deciding what to do with us." Hale studied the core carefully. "We don't provoke it. We observe. We learn." And then we act. The constructs glided around the perimeter, their reflective surfaces mirroring the pulsing lines of energy. The core responded subtly to their presence, the glow intensifying and shifting in patterns Evan couldn't interpret. Mira's scanner beeped uncontrollably. I can't track it all. The energy is too complex. It's reacting to us, and to the constructs, and to the forest above. It's alive. Evan stepped closer to Hale. Then what do? Learn, Hale said. Watch, note, survive. That's all we can do for now. Hours passed. The energy pulsed in rhythm with a heartbeat Evan could feel in his chest. The constructs moved like extensions of the system, observing, processing. The forest above remained silent, still, waiting. Mira finally lowered her hands, exhausted. It's evaluating us. The system will make a decision soon. Evan swallowed. A decision about what? About survival, Mira whispered. About whether we're a threat or useful. Hale nodded. Then we prepare. Stay alert. Stay together. We move only when necessary, and we control our reactions. That's our only chance. The group settled near the edge of the chamber, watching the pulsing core and the constructs. The energy lines beneath their feet shifted and shimmered, connecting the island in a web of light that stretched beyond comprehension. Evan felt the weight of the island pressing down on them, aware that every movement, every thought, was part of the system's calculation. Mira shivered beside him, exhausted but alert. The constructs glided silently, the core pulsed, and the island watched. Night deepened above, and the moons cast silver light through the chamber. The pulsing lines of energy traced across the floor, converging on the central node. The air was thick, humming with vibration, and Evan knew that the system was preparing its next step. They had survived the forest, the constructs, the black surface, and the spiral. But the core was different. It was alive, aware, calculating. And somewhere deep beneath the island, the heart of the system had begun to make its decision about the humans who had stumbled into its world. The next move would determine everything, and there would be no turning back. The chamber hummed with a deep, steady vibration that seemed to reach into Evan's chest. The pulsing core dominated the space, lines of energy weaving outward like the threads of a web. Mira crouched nearby, scanning frantically, her fingers trembling as she tried to interpret the patterns. Evan, stay close, she whispered. Every movement matters. It's calculating everything we do. Evan nodded. Hale and Tor moved along the edges of the chamber, observing the constructs. Their reflective surfaces flickered with the blue light from the core, showing the pulsing energy that connected everything. Lena pointed to a section of the floor where the energy lines twisted into complex shapes. Those lines, she said quietly, they aren't random. They form sequences, maybe instructions or warnings. Hale crouched beside her, studying the shapes, possibly a way to interact with the core safely. We have to be careful. One wrong step, and it could react unpredictably. Evan's stomach tightened. React how? Destroy, disable, or trap us, Mira said softly. It decides based on how it evaluates us. Every choice, every thought, every hesitation. It's all part of its calculation. The team took a cautious approach, moving closer to the central node. The pulsing light brightened as they advanced, following them like a heartbeat in rhythm with their movements. Mira's scanner beeped in rapid succession, warning of unstable energy zones. Watch the lines, Mira warned. Step only where the energy is stable. Don't disturb the flow. They followed the safest path, moving carefully through the intricate network of glowing energy. The constructs glided along silently, observing each step, reflecting the light around them. The deeper they went, the more the chamber seemed alive, as if the walls and floor were breathing in response to their presence. Suddenly, a wave of vibration shot through the chamber. The constructs flinched, and the energy lines pulsed violently, bright blue arcs cutting across the floor. Mira grabbed Evan's arm. "It's testing us. It wants to see how we respond." Evan steadied himself, breathing deeply. "What do we do?" "Don't move too fast," Hale instructed. "Hold your ground. Observe and adapt. Let it learn that we're not impulsive." The pulse faded slowly, leaving behind faint ripples in the energy lines. Yes. Mira hat. It's analyzing our reactions. It's learning faster than I expected. "Then we need to act smart," Evan said. "We can't let it control the pace." Hale nodded. "Correct. We proceed slowly, deliberately. Every step is a message to it. We show composure, intelligence, unity." The group continued toward the core, each movement measured. The energy lines beneath their feet formed concentric circles around the central node, radiating outward like the ripples of water. The constructs glided closer, forming a protective perimeter but never touching them. Mira's scanner beeped again. "There's a pattern in the pulses. The core communicates through energy frequency. It reacts not just to movement, but to emotion. Fear, hesitation, uncertainty, they all change the signal." "Then we must stay calm," Hale said. "Focus on the mission, not the fear." Evan felt the pressure of the island pressing down on them, each heartbeat echoing in his chest. The hum of the core was almost deafening now, resonating with their nerves. Mira trembled slightly, but she followed the careful steps of the group. As they neared the central node, the energy lines shifted and twisted, forming shapes that resembled living symbols. The constructs paused, hovering in formation. Evan noticed that their reflections aligned perfectly with the glowing shapes, forming a mirrored pattern that seemed intentional. "It's a test of recognition," Mira whispered. "It wants to see if we notice the patterns, if we understand them. It evaluates our intelligence." Hale stepped forward slightly, pointing. "Evan, Lena, observe closely. Any misstep could trigger a defensive response. Mira, guide us through the sequence." Mira nodded, trembling but determined. She traced the energy lines with her hand, careful not to touch the floor directly. The lines responded to her presence, glowing brighter as if acknowledging recognition. The constructs mirrored the movement, reflecting the light in synchronization. A sudden pulse shot through the chamber, stronger than before. Evan stumbled but recovered, keeping close to Hale. Mira gasped, clutching his arm. "It's increasing the intensity. It wants to see if we panic." Evan steadied himself. "We don't. Stay composed." The pulse passed, leaving the chamber bathed in a steady glow. The constructs hovered silently, observing. The core itself pulsed in a slow, steady rhythm, as if satisfied with their performance so far. "Almost there," Mira whispered. "The next sequence leads directly to the heart of the node. That's where we can access information, learn what the system is evaluating." We proceed, step by step, deliberate, calm. They followed the final sequence, moving closer to the central node. The energy lines converged, forming a spiral that descended into the platform. The constructs aligned perfectly along the spiral, their reflective surfaces capturing the pulsing light and amplifying it across the chamber. Evan felt a subtle pull in his mind, a tug that made his thoughts scattered. Mira grabbed his hand. "It's probing. Don't resist. Don't panic. Just focus." He nodded, forcing himself to steady his breathing. Each step felt like moving through water thick with energy. The spiral drew them toward the central node, the heart of the system. Finally, they reached the platform. The core pulsed intensely, and the energy lines beneath their feet formed a grid of light. Mira leaned forward, scanning the patterns. This is it. The system will share information if it trusts our intentions, or it will reject us if it sees threat. Hale crouched beside her. We show intelligence. We show purpose. We demonstrate unity. That is our only chance. Evan felt the weight of the island pressing down, aware that every thought and movement was part of the system's evaluation. The constructs hovered, mirrors of the core's light, reflecting their forms and amplifying their presence. The chamber seemed to vibrate with potential energy, waiting for a decision. Mira touched the central node lightly. The energy lines pulsed immediately, wrapping around her fingers in delicate arcs. Her eyes widened. It's connecting, the system. It's responding to me. Evan watched, tense. What is it doing? It's sharing data, she whispered. Visions, memories, patterns of civilizations, evaluations. It's showing me everything it has learned. It's vast. Older than anything we know. Hale placed a hand on her shoulder. Focus, Mira. We need knowledge, not panic. Take what you can handle. The visions overwhelmed her for a moment, images flashing across her mind. Planets, stars, civilizations rising and falling, technologies beyond comprehension. The system's calculations were vast, precise, and inhuman. Mira stumbled but caught herself, breathing heavily. It wants to judge, she said, voice shaking. Our potential, our adaptability, our intelligence. It evaluates everything. How we survive, how we cooperate, how we understand patterns. It's not just observing, it's learning from us. Then we give it the right impression, Hale said firmly. Calm, intelligent, united. That's our message. Evan felt the tension in his chest ease slightly as he nodded. They were a small group against an incomprehensible system, but their unity and careful observation were their strengths. The core pulsed gently now, the energy lines stabilizing into patterns that seemed almost welcoming. The constructs remained in formation, mirrors of the light and energy around them. Mira exhaled, her breathing slow and steady. It's accepting our presence, she whispered. It's allowing us to learn. We can access its knowledge, but we must be careful. It still evaluates constantly. Hale nodded. We proceed, cautiously. Every observation, every action counts. We must remain aware at all times. The chamber was silent but alive with energy. The constructs hovered, the core pulsed, and the humans on the platform felt the weight of the system's awareness pressing down on them. They had reached the heart, the central node, but survival depended on knowledge, intelligence, and control. Hours passed as Mira guided the group, interpreting the patterns, analyzing the pulses, and understanding the core's intentions. Evan stayed close, absorbing the information slowly, while Hale maintained vigilance. Lena and Tor observed, taking careful notes and remaining calm. Finally, Mira straightened, exhaustion evident on her face. We have the first understanding, she said. We know it evaluates, learns, and adapts. We can use this knowledge to survive, but the system is not neutral. It tests, probes, and judges. Every action now matters. Hale nodded. Then we prepare. Rest only briefly. Observe constantly, and plan our next move. The core has accepted us, for now. That is all we can be sure of. The group settled near the platform, watching the pulsing energy, the reflective constructs, and the lines of light spreading outward. The chamber was alive, aware, and calculating. Every heartbeat, every breath, every thought contributed to the system's assessment. Evan felt the island around them, alive in ways he had never imagined. The core's pulse resonated through the ground, the walls, and their minds. Mira sat close, still trembling but focused, as they absorbed the weight of what they had discovered. The night deepened above the chamber. The moons cast silver light through the canopy, illuminating the pulsing grid beneath their feet. The constructs remained silent, observing, reflecting, amplifying the system's energy. And somewhere deep within the core, the heart of the island continued to calculate, ancient, aware, and patient. The humans on the platform understood only a fraction, but they knew one thing clearly. They had reached the heart of the system, and survival depended on every choice they made from this moment onward. The humans remained on the platform, the pulsing core beneath them filling the chamber with steady vibrations. Every line of energy, every flicker of light, seemed to communicate a language beyond comprehension. The constructs hovered around them, mirrors of the core's glow, observing silently. Evan's chest tightened with the pressure of the island's awareness. Mira sat close, her eyes fixed on the energy patterns, scanning and interpreting with cautious intensity. Hale stood slightly apart, vigilant, observing both the core and the constructs for any change in behavior. Lena and Tar remained alert, understanding that the smallest misstep could provoke a response. "We need to decide our next step carefully," Hale said quietly. "The system has accepted our presence, but it watches constantly. Any sudden movement could trigger a reaction." Mira nodded, still trembling. "It's sharing knowledge, but selectively, it tests our understanding at each moment. It evaluates patience, calmness, and intelligence. We must act in ways that continue to prove we are not a threat." Evan felt the pull of the energy lines beneath his feet. The core's rhythm seemed to resonate with his heartbeat, and a strange clarity came over him. The island was not simply a place to survive. It was a system, a living intelligence that demanded understanding, adaptation, and respect. Hale moved closer to the central node. "We need information about the island itself, about how it evaluates, and what it ultimately wants from us. We've seen how it tests. Now we learn from it." Mira reached forward and gently touched the energy lines connecting to the core. The pulse intensified, arcs of blue light tracing patterns that seemed to form shapes she could recognize, maps, sequences, instructions. Her mind filled with flashes of information, rapid but structured, overwhelming yet coherent. It shows history, patterns of previous civilizations, some destroyed, some preserved, and criteria for judgment. We are being measured against that. Evan felt a shiver run down his spine. "Then what is it judging? Our actions? Our intelligence?" "Everything," Mira whispered. "Our instincts, choices, unity, patience, courage, and ability to learn. It evaluates potential, whether we survive, whether we can adapt, whether we contribute to its understanding." Tor swallowed. "So it's like a test. One wrong choice and we're done?" Hale shook his head. "Not exactly. It's more precise than that. It measures patterns, reactions, growth, and awareness. If we fail, it doesn't simply attack. It recalibrates, adapts, and may trap us. Survival depends on consistency, intelligence, and composure." Evan focused on his breathing. The core's pulse resonated through him, and he realized that panicking would only worsen their evaluation. He steadied himself, feeling the rhythm of the energy around him, aligning with it as best as he could. The constructs shifted slightly, forming a wider perimeter, Their reflective surfaces captured the glow from the energy lines, amplifying the pulsing light in the chamber. Evan noticed subtle shifts in the patterns beneath their feet. The system responded to their movements and mental state. Mira pointed to a sequence in the lines, indicating it might be an interface. "Careful," she whispered. "This could allow direct communication, but only if we maintain composure and demonstrate intelligence." Hale nodded. "Step by step. Observe, understand, interact only as necessary. The core reacts, but it also provides information if we meet its conditions." Evan followed Mira as she guided them through the energy grid. Each movement was deliberate, measured, and precise. The core pulsed brighter with each correct response, arcs of light tracing patterns that expanded across the floor. Mira's scanner beeped rapidly, relaying data she could barely process. Hours passed in careful observation and controlled interaction. Evan felt the weight of knowledge pressing on him. The visions, the data, the assessment of the system. The core's pulse seemed to mirror their endurance and awareness, fluctuating gently in response to calm, deliberate behavior. Then the energy intensified. Lines shot upward, connecting with the constructs, forming a dome-like network of light around the humans. Mira gasped. "It's sharing more. Directly. We can understand some of its reasoning, its evaluations. It's almost human in logic, but so much larger, so much older." Hale kept a careful eye on the constructs. "We could use this. The system is revealing itself because it deems us capable of comprehension. It's testing our ability to process knowledge and act accordingly." Evan felt the data washing over him. Concepts beyond anything he had ever learned. Energy manipulation, planetary networks, civilizations spanning galaxies, patterns of rise and fall. The system's intelligence was vast, its reach unimaginable. Mira struggled to articulate the information. It shows the criteria: stability, adaptability, intelligence, unity, creativity, morality. We are being measured on all fronts. Not just survival, but growth, understanding, potential contribution. Lena's eyes widened. "Then we must prove we are worthy. Not just to survive, but to continue learning." "Exactly," Hale said. "Our path forward depends on more than caution. It depends on insight, observation, and the ability to act together without fear." Evan studied the constructs. They moved fluidly, yet deliberately, mirroring the energy patterns perfectly. Each arc of light, each reflection, each vibration communicated information to the core and back. The humans were integrated into this network, their choices feeding the system's understanding. Hours stretched on, and the core's light shifted from soft pulses to a steady, constant glow. The constructs formed a protective ring around the humans, but they did not interfere. The system had recognized their composure, their intelligence, and their unity. Mira finally exhaled. "It accepts our presence now, fully. We can continue learning from it without triggering defense protocols." "But any careless move could reverse that." Hale nodded. "Then we proceed carefully. We gather knowledge and observe. Patience is our ally now." Evan felt a strange sense of connection with the energy. The island, the core, and the constructs were no longer merely threats. They were part of a system that communicated, tested, and shared knowledge. Understanding it was as critical as survival itself. Mira pointed to the central node. "The core can teach us more: patterns, histories, survival strategies, even predictive models of the island's behavior, but only if we approach it correctly." Hale adjusted his stance. "Step forward when ready. Observe first, interact second. Remember composure, intelligence, and unity." Evan stepped closer, feeling the gentle pull of the energy. He reached a point where his presence was acknowledged by the patterns. Mira's hand guided him, interpreting the subtle signals. The core pulsed brighter, arcs of blue light flowing along the lines and through the constructs, connecting all in a delicate balance. The system began to project sequences that resembled instructions, warnings, and historical records. Evan absorbed as much as he could, realizing that the island was not simply a place of survival. It was a teacher, an evaluator, and a keeper of knowledge. Hours turned into cycles, the core's pulse steady and reassuring. Mira guided them. Hale maintained vigilance. Lena and Tor observed and recorded, and Evan focused on understanding the patterns. The chamber seemed alive, but now their fear was tempered by comprehension. Finally, Mira straightened, exhausted but determined. We have the first full understanding, the system's evaluation criteria, the structure of the energy network, the construct's function, and the potential outcomes. We can survive, adapt, and learn, but only if we continue to act carefully, intelligently, and together. Hale placed a hand on Evan's shoulder. Then we prepare for the next phase. Observation, understanding, learning. The island will guide us if we follow correctly. Survival depends not just on fear or strength, but on intelligence and unity. Evan felt a deep respect for the system. It was vast, ancient, and alive. Its judgment was precise, its knowledge immense. They had reached the heart of the island, survived its tests, and gained insight into its workings. Now their path depended on wisdom, composure, and the ability to act as one. The chamber remained pulsing with energy, constructs moving silently in perfect synchronization, the core glowing with steady light. The humans, exhausted yet alert, settled near the platform, aware that the island had accepted them but was still evaluating. Every thought, every action, and every observation from this point forward would shape their fate. Night continued over the island, moons casting silver light across the chamber. The lines of energy traced intricate patterns beneath their feet, the constructs reflecting and amplifying the glow, and the core pulsating like a heartbeat. The humans understood now that they were part of something larger, something alive, and that survival required more than caution. It required intelligence, unity, and constant observation. As they rested, the energy of the core seemed to resonate with each of them individually, guiding, testing, and teaching. The island watched, calculated, and learned.